Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel for another quick champion guide, and today we are talking about one of my favorite champions to play right now, and that is Gladiator. Now Gladiator recently received a buff as part of the rebalance program, and I truly don't think enough people understand just how good he is right now. So we're going to cover the basics on how to play him, how to ramp him up quickly and easily, and how to make that Intimidate passive work in your favor. Okay, let's start by answering the question that I know at least one of you has already typed into the comments below, and that is, does Gladiator need to be awakened? Now the good news here is that in the vast majority of matchups the answer is no. So if we take a look at his signature ability, the first clause gives you an increase to your confidence buff limit if you finish a fight over a certain threshold of health. Now this does raise the ceiling on his max ramp by 40%, so in a quest or war situation where you're going to be using him for many fights in a row, this is going to be a bit helpful. But practically speaking, it's likely that your opponent is going to be dead long before you hit this ceiling. Now the second clause is where the magic happens, so it allows Gladiator to start the fight with a vigilance buff. So getting a few seconds of a miss counter at the start of the fight doesn't really sound that useful. However, when Gladiator has a vigilance buff active, all of his hits deal true damage, which means you're going to be ignoring resistances, and it prevents armor up buffs from triggering on the defender. And this is extremely valuable in specific matchups like against Future Ant-Man and Red Skull. So against Future Ant-Man, you can turn off his glancing at the start of the fight while you ramp, and against Red Skull, it prevents his initial armor ups from triggering, allowing you to safely hit into his block to ramp up at the start of the fight. So if you have like the 6-star and you have the ability to awaken Gladiator, matchups like those two that I mentioned are going to be the reason you're going to want to do that. Alright, let's jump right into some gameplay. Alright, the very first thing you want to know about Gladiator is that he has a combo style that is very similar to Doom or Chavez, where the heavy attack applies a passive stun when it's used after a basic attack. Gladiator's heavy is incredibly important to his playstyle, as you'll see here. Now, using his heavy does two things for you. It's going to grant you 2 confidence buffs, and it will apply a passive Intimidate effect if the defender is below 2 bars of power, and Intimidate is going to make the defender play more passively. Real quick interjection here, Gladiator's damage output is controlled in large part by these confidence buffs, and they are unique to him. So as you build your confidence up, your attack rating is going to increase, and when you hit certain thresholds of confidence buffs, you're going to gain access to new abilities from his kit and access to additional damage. Now getting hit will cause you to lose these confidence buffs, so playing skillfully really important when you're playing with Gladiator. At the start of the fight, what I like to do is parry and immediately go for a heavy attack. This is going to apply the Intimidate without giving the defender too much power. From here, what you want to do is dash back and then immediately dash forward and hit the opponent's block 4 times. After that, dash back again. The defender should retreat because of that Intimidate, and then you can dash in one more time, hit their block another 4 times. You notice that I said dash back before you dash in to hit their block, and this is very important to remember when you're playing Gladiator. Dashing back first is going to manipulate the defender into holding their block. While the Intimidate is meant to make the defender play more passively, it is not a guaranteed effect, and the dash back really helps you kind of close that gap. Dashing back before you dash in with your medium attack is almost always going to force the defender to play extra passive and hold block, thereby guaranteeing that you're not going to get intercepted on your way there. Okay, so at this point you have the defender in their corner, they are below a bar of power, and you have 2 options. You can either repeatedly heavy them, or you can back up, let the Intimidate expire, and start the cycle over again. Using heavies on a defender in the corner when they're blocking is only safe in a questing scenario. Do not try this in war or battlegrounds where your opponent can possibly be running the stand your ground mastery, because you will get wrecked. Now that Intimidate passive is going to go a long way towards making sure that your defender is holding block even if they have a bar or 2 of power, but remember there is some risk associated with it because it's not going to be guaranteed. Now at this point in the fight you will have crossed over 10 confidence buffs, and you'll notice that your heavy attack has also now triggered an unblockable buff, which you can use for an easy stand-up intercept with another combo or a special attack. You'll deal extra burst damage on your heavies and your special attacks while this unblockable is active. Now at this point you again have a decision to make. If you need access to a miss counter and the armor prevention, you want to build up to your special 2. Otherwise, you want to toss your special 1, ideally while that unblockable buff is active, in order to get the extra burst damage. Now at a very high level, that's basically it for the damage rotation, and from here, you can kind of just repeat it as necessary. Your confidence buffs cap out at 25 or 33 with the dupe, and you'll see some very impressive damage numbers the closer you get to that limit of confidence. Alright, let's take a look at a fight in real time. So at the start of the fight, parry heavy for the Intimidate, back up, dash in, hit the block 4 times, repeat that. Now you have 10 confidence buffs, so your next heavy will trigger the unblockable, which you can use for a stand-up intercept. Heavy again to reapply the Intimidate, hit the block again while they're intimidated, and you can see we're like 15 seconds in and we're already close to our maximum of 25 confidence buffs. Bait out that special attack, heavy again to trigger another unblockable, fire off that special 1 while the unblockable is active for the extra burst damage, and one final stand-up intercept seals the deal. That's about 300,000 health in 30 seconds. Alright, so before we move on, let's go ahead and review what we learned so far. This is what I would call the beginner's damage rotation. So at the start of the fight, parry heavy, that's going to apply your Intimidate and start you on your way to gaining your confidence buffs. Dash back and then dash in, hit their block 4 total times, repeat that step again. That should get you up to your 10 confidence, and then from here, you can either repeatedly heavy into them if you want to risk it, or you can back off, wait for the Intimidate to expire, and then parry heavy again. Remember to use your unblockable for easy stand-up intercepts in the corner, and then use your special attacks while you're unblockable for that extra burst damage. Again, SP1 is the cold snap, that's going to give you an evade counter. SP2 is the incinerate and the vigilance, and that's going to give you a miss counter. Now in terms of damage from the special attacks, the dot effects from the special 1 and special 2 are actually identical. Special 2 requires 2 bars of power, and so the incinerates are actually going to do exactly twice as much damage as the cold snaps are going to do. So it's really just a matter of kind of deciding which utility you need when you're deciding what special attack you want to use. Now, if you want to take Gladiator even further beyond,
he said it!
Then you'll want to master this next technique, but I first want to stress here that he is perfectly useful and still very powerful without using it. So the way this technique works is via the unstoppable buff from your special 1. When you're at or above 20 confidence, use your special 1, and when the opponent starts their special attack, just start comboing into them. Each hit that you land during their special attack is going to deal a huge burst of damage. And remember, while you're doing this, you're unstoppable, you're going to be stun immune, you'll take 80% reduced damage from the special attack hits, and your confidence buffs cannot be lost. And if you time a new combo or a heavy at the end of their special attack, you can keep this cycle going and do some incredibly silly things. Alright, let's take a look at how this works in a practical matchup. This sentry has about 850,000 health, so like a boss type health pool. At the start of the fight, looks very similar to other fights that I've shown so far. We're just working on building up our confidence. We want to hit that magic number of 20 as quickly as possible. And right there, we've done it. So now we're going to bait out this special 2 from him. We're going to go in with a combo and a heavy. While we're unblockable, toss the special 1 to trigger unstoppable. If he throws the special or not, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep comboing into him. Refresh the unstoppable with the special 1. He's going to toss the special 2 here, just hitting into him, stunning him with the heavy after the special attack animation is over, and you can see how we're just kind of like continually punishing him in the corner. We're unstoppable, we're stun immune, he really can't do much of anything to stop us. Refreshing that unstoppable as necessary with our special 1, and he's just burning his power. He can't do any damage to us. He's now applied an armor break to us, which is actually going to end up keeping us topped up via willpower. And you can see like just how powerful Gladiator it is. Once you master this type of technique, there are very few fights that are going to be able to withstand such an assault in the corner like this. So we're going to go ahead, one more heavy attack, or one more combo rather in the corner. That is 850,000 health in about 75 seconds. One big caveat to using this mechanic is that you really need to pick and choose the right matchups to do it in. You'll take 80% less damage from hits during special attacks, but you will still be subject to any sort of secondary effects from the special attack. So something like a dot effect, red damage, those are still going to be applying to you at full potency. So there's a really big risk-reward type thing going in here. The payoff is huge though if you're willing to risk it. Alright, lastly, let's review the advanced damage rotation. To start the fight, Parry heavy again, apply your Intimidate, dash back, dash in, hit their block a bunch of times, build up your confidence buffs, and you want to repeat this until you have at least 20 confidence. Very, very important. This will not work if you are below 20 confidence buffs. Then you want to use your special 1, which will trigger your unstoppable. Remember, you don't have to be unblockable when you use your special attack, but it will give you a little bit of extra burst damage. Hit them during their special attack animations while you're unstoppable to get huge chunks of damage for each hit that you land. Remember to try and time the end of your combo so that you could possibly start a new one or land a heavy attack at the end of their special attack animation. And that's going to allow you to kind of keep this like YOLO cycle going. And then again, refresh your unstoppable with the special 1 as needed until they're dead. One final note, if you're just getting started with Gladiator, I'd really recommend sticking with just the basic playstyle for a while until you have a bit more confidence in your ability to play him well. That's going to do it for another champion guide. If you've made it this far into the video, please leave me a comment down below with who you think I should do a champion guide on next. And if this guide was helpful to you, you can help me right back by hitting that like button. Make sure to share the video with your friends and your alliance mates as well. And as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.